same time, there are a lot of people here who, without whose help, none of this would have been possible. So in the end, they won. But I thought it was really brilliant strategy to have Will keep playing while I talk, so it's like it keeps going, right? And then we can jump back in, and none of you will have any idea what happened. First and foremost, I apologize if I forget anyone. I'm mostly running on caffeine and adrenaline. I'm sorry, it's not an hour moment. First and foremost, I want to thank my thesis advisor, Neely Bruce, for introducing me to the conceptual foundation and the academic foundation of everything that I was trying to do here, which without that, this would have been a much more scattered and a much less grounded project. So I'm very appreciative of that. I would also like to thank the music department in general just for giving us the venue and the opportunity to do something like this. It's a really incredible experience. This has been fairly life-changing. So I am so appreciative of that. I would like to thank my academic advisors, Professor Yonatan Malin and Professor Sonali Chakrabarty. I'm not sure if both of you are here, but the two of you have given me so much academic guidance and support throughout the years. It's been really incredible. All of my friends who came from out of town, whether that was to support me or to get out of your Passover plans, I'm appreciative either way. And all of you in general for coming out and getting to share this with all of you is one of the most incredible experiences. But most of all, to my family, my mom Linda, my dad Warren, and my sister Isabel, for being the most supportive, gracious, incredible human beings, and for coming to my gigs, whether they were in a concert hall or a frat house, or both on the same night, and none of this could have happened without you. So thank you. That's all for now. There's more in the programs. If any of you want to talk to me at some point about the idea behind this, please come find me. I'm around. This last piece, movement, whatever you want to call it, is called the Ostrich. Thank you for coming out. Thank you so much. So the other night, I'm dreaming, and you're there, but it's less like you and I, and more like we, you know? So we are there, and we are an ostrich. I know that sounds crazy. It probably is, but I'm the one who's dreaming, so we are there, and we are an ostrich. Vaulted cathedral, and I know that it would be beautiful, except that it's pouring, and I have no idea how the rain's getting in, whether it's a structural integrity kind of issue or just some kind of dream magic, but in the moment none of it really matters because it's incredibly wet and incredibly cold and just generally kind of awful. So we start running around because I'm worried that if we leave, that means losing this whole we thing that I'm very fond of, right? But maybe just moving around could help to distract us from what's going on. So we're doing these sort of gangly ostrich sprints back and forth across the hall and around the pews. And then all of a sudden, out of the rain struts my old professor. And he's an ostrich too, so strut. And he starts recycling some old lecture about the theory of diminishing returns, except he's saying it all backwards, so it's returns diminishing of theory the, and I can barely understand the words he's saying, let alone what their point is. So I start really panicking that I'm not going to be prepared for the midterm, which is a dream midterm, not a real midterm, so it doesn't actually matter. But again, in the moment, I'm terrified. So I decide that I'm going to yell at him and say something to the effect of, stop talking backwards, you're being a really considerate teacher. But before I get the chance, the rain starts to come on even harder. I mean, it swallows up the whole cathedral. So, we're sinking under the water. fish. And we've got a pair of gills like a fish. And we're breathing together. Except when you're part of one body, you don't breathe together, you just breathe, right? So we breathe and we swim, we breathe and we swim, and finally you say something to the effect of, this would be so much better if we could always be this close. And I tell you, that's not usually how it works with me. You know, you gotta lower your expectations. And so then you ask me if I would miss you after you're gone. Fraker on keys, Snyder on drums and percussion, Mel Hsu on guitar, Mel Hsu on cello and vocals, Bennett on the drums and percussion, Tory Mathieson on vocals, Jess on vocals. Thank you guys so much.